And then while this is streaming live on YouTube, we do have a poll just before we get started on the people who are in this chat on if you have classic car insurance. So I'm going to launch this poll so that people can. And while this is streaming live on YouTube, we do have. Hey, Michael.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Excellent. Yes, you are good to go. We are streaming on YouTube and
Okay.
we have the poll in progress, so we'll be able to see who has insurance, who doesn't, and if you can kind of see where we're at.
Perfect. Perfect.
So
will that populate in the chat, or where will we be able to see that, or is that going to be shown later?
Let me see. I can tell you so far 83% of people have voted. 7 people have insurance with Hagerty. 3 people have insurance with another company, and 10 people.
I'm just kidding.
10 people do not have insurance.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming insurance somewhere else, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but not classic
Gotcha.
car insurance.
Right. Okay, perfect. Well, then let me start. Hello, my name is Michael Lewis. I am an agent with Hagerty, so I don't work directly with Hagerty, but I am free to represent other insurance companies. And I've had a long-standing relationship with Hagerty, not necessarily in terms of writing with them, but in terms of knowing them and knowing people who work for them. I was introduced to Hagerty about 7 or 8 years ago. I went to Coronado Car Show here in San Diego. I'm from San Diego. And I met Lauren there, who was at the time one of the regional managers for marketing. So she goes around and helps all of the agents with any events that they're doing, giveaways like I'm doing with you guys, and any sort of events in Southern California. So she approached me because I was into cars and I had my car at a booth and said, "Hey, are you an agent?" I was with Penn Mutual at the time. I said, I am, but not for car insurance. So we kind of kept in touch over the years. And finally, I had a guy who has a humongous Porsche collection and was looking for insurance options. I said, you know, Hagerty is really, really good. You should probably go with them. And then the light bulb clicked, like, why don't I get my property and casualty license? So I studied about a month for that, took it, passed it. And then a month later started writing policies. I had my own underwriting team with Hagerty because I kind of hit the ground running quickly with my background in racing and car modifications and stuff like that. So big circle. Now I've been writing with them about 2 years now, I would say. Great relationship with Zach, my underwriter. Have met a lot of people on the forums, in car shows, and done a lot of stuff with those people. A lot of track day insurance, which I'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, just wanted to give my background. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I will have a PDF of this presentation that I can email to the club, or I don't know how you want to disperse that. But I will get a PDF of everything that I show here. So you can keep all the questions and all the slides and all the pictures of my cars. So with that being said, let's see if I can do this. So let's go share screen. Host participant screen sharing. Oh, can you enable screen sharing, Anne, by any chance?
It should.
There we go. Bingo.
There you go.
Okay, cool. PowerPoint as visual background. So this is my first time again doing this. So let's see if this works. This would be kind of cool. All right, desktop. Where's my presentation? Oh, look at how cool that is. Heyo. All right, cool. So that's me. Hi, Apex Capital Advising is my DBA. I am a financial advisor by trade for the past 4 or 5 years, independent. So, which basically means I don't work for a wire firm like JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley. I basically get to do my own thing. And part of that financial advising process is making sure people are properly insured. That comes with, you know, and then the car stuff. So that's how I basically have 3 branches of my business: the financial advising, the Hagerty, and then other insurance. So let's see next. I have to click it, sorry. So I basically love cars. Oh, it wasn't supposed to go like that. Let's see. Oh, this is the old one. I didn't save it. 1 second. Let me save it. Save as presentation. Yes. 3 branches of my business. Okay, so let's. Sorry, 1 second. Trying to make this work. All right, well, we'll just. Can't save presentation because files read only. Okay, all right, well, we'll just go forward and see what happens. So basically, I love cars. My first car was a Volvo, and then I slowly came and got into BMWs. I have a race car back there that I put a lot of money into and did a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing. Met a lot of people. It's a great way, as you know, to meet people through your club, through racing, through auto shows. So I'm pretty into cars. So it just kind of seemed appropriate that I would follow that love and, you know, do insurance with cars. I have had Mercedes. So my first Mercedes was a 190E that I actually bought from Jeff a while back for $5,000. It was a fantastic little Cosworth 5-speed. I enjoyed the heck out of it, but had a few clutch issues that just kept happening in LA, especially during summertime. I don't know if it was the slave or the master cylinder just kept gunking up and couldn't drive it, and the clutch pedal would get stuck on the 405. So it wasn't very fun. Traded that in, got an E55 wagon, which is back there. Absolutely loved it. Great car. Became kind of maintenance intensive once I went past 100,000 miles. So recently just sold that, and now I am back to all BMWs, unfortunately. But I still love Mercedes, so wanted to get that out there. Also, like I said, participated in a bunch of wheel-to-wheel. I've been to SEMA, have pretty deep roots in the car community, and I really love the people in the community. They're very friendly, always willing to help out, whether it's on track and your competitors, you know, come over, and if you have, you know, you need to make an emergency brake change. I had 3 guys helping me with rotors and pads and putting back everything in between heats of qualifying. So I love the car community. It brings me joy to help people and save money and work with Hagerty, because that's what everyone wants, is to save money and have better coverage, right? So I really fell in love with them and their policies and the people working for them. And so that's how I pretty much came to be with Hagerty. Now moving on to the fun part of the show, which is our slideshow, which my underwriter, Zach, has put together for me. Thank you so much, Zach. I'm not sure if you're watching, but company overview. Hagerty, leading provider of collector vehicle insurance services and resources. Hagerty has been around for 35 plus years, I believe it is. Oh, it's right there. And they are pretty much the biggest of the biggest. So I don't know how to put that in terms of Geico and Allstate, because we have some big insurance companies out there, but for this niche market, they are the biggest and the best. Headquarters is in Traverse City, Michigan. And also we do have coverage in Canada and parts of the UK. So if anyone is in Canada or the United Kingdom, we do have the opportunity to insure you guys. It's just a little bit more of a process, which I'm slightly unfamiliar with because I haven't done anything in Canada or the USA. We have 1,300 employees working worldwide. We insure a bunch of different things, which we have another slide on, but it's not just classic cars. We also insure memorabilia and other kind of tidbits, you know, within your garage, spare parts. So it's not solely just an automobile type of insurance. We also do marine, we also do RVs, we also do trailer insurance. So there's a bunch of stuff that we do, and I'll go more into that later on. How does collector car insurance work? So we have 4 criteria for when we do our underwriting for your classic car. Usage and mileage. So that means when do you use it, where do you use it, how do you use it, and how many miles per year. Storage is a big one for us. We always require a garage or a safe place of storage. If you have any questions about that, I can, you know, ask the underwriter, because there are some certain instances where, you know, if you store a car at your shop versus at your home, like what does security look like? We have a lot of different ways that we can evaluate the risk tolerance for your car. Daily use vehicles, we really don't do very much daily use vehicle, if at all. We usually require that there is a daily driven vehicle on a separate policy, just because Hagerty likes to focus on the classic and we don't like to spread our risk in that manner. Next slide, what sets us apart? So we guarantee your value. So this is the biggest one with Hagerty that I always want to hammer home with my clients is, I mean, there's the next slide on it. So let me just go do that real quick. So different types of coverages. So this is what I was talking about, what makes Hagerty special compared to all the other Geico, Allstate, and even some other collector car companies, like I think it's American Collector and Grundy. So with Hagerty, we offer guaranteed value. So that basically means that when we insure your car, you tell us the value of the car. So let's say you have a 190E like I had. And I bought it for 5,000, but let's just say I kept it until today and I put some modifications on it. I can go to Hagerty and say, hey, I have a really nice 190E. I'd like to insure it for $25,000. We're able to, well, Hagerty is able to provide that coverage for me. So if there's any, if there is any total loss on the car, Hagerty will just write that check and hand it to you. There's no questions asked. Now, if you put a $200,000 value on a 16V Causey, we might say, hey, we need some, documentation to kind of support that claim. But other than that, we're pretty friendly on whatever stated value you would like to put on your car. Now, along with that, other companies will say, yeah, we have stated value. It's not really stated value. It's actually called, the ACV. So the ACV is what the insurance adjuster says a car is worth, usually based on other car values. So this is like your Geico and other companies that will insure your car and say, okay, well, the blue book on your car or whatever our insurance adjuster says, let's say they put it at, $5,000 for that same 16V. Now on the market, there might be some cars flying around for 12 to 10. So they're going to, agree or say what kind of value they're going to give your car, but that's nowhere near the $25,000 that you have put into the car and what you think it's worth. So that's why Geico, Allstate, all those other companies will not give you the guaranteed value. And with that, I've sometimes mistake saying stated and guaranteed. Stated value is also in play with other insurance companies. And it's different because even though the insurance company allows their clients to set their own value, the insurer is still allowed to pay the lesser of the stated value. So basically, molding into what I just said, they're allowed to say, hey, well, we don't think it's worth that. It's actually a different value. This is what we're going to give you. Whereas Hagerty, we basically say, this is what you insured it for. This is what we're covering for. Total loss. Here's the check. No questions asked. So that's why I do love Hagerty and have both my collector cars through Hagerty. Fantastic. So here's a funny little SAAB story to kind of go along with what I've just been saying. So 1980 SAAB 900 T-bone by person that ran a red light. Stated value policy with a standard carrier valued at $12,000. Let's just say it had low mileage for the SAAB itself. Standard carrier referred to Kelley Blue Book, could only find the 1992 with 145,000 miles, which has happened a lot with clients that actually switch over to me. Because a lot of these, you guys know that you'll keep a car and, not put any miles on it. And then at that time that you either wreck your car or something happens to it, there may only be 2 to 3 examples on the market, and they could have, 150,000 miles more, 150,000 miles more than what you have. So what's the insurance company going to base the ACV on? They have nothing to really base it on because there's nothing classic out there. And then also, in regards to that, most collectors will sell their cars on Bring a Trailer. And I'm not sure if insurance companies will actually look at Bring a Trailer and past sales, whereas they usually look at what's selling on the market right now to determine that value. So just, keep that in mind. So let's say they set the value at $1,635. Customer obviously not happy, very SAAB. Standard carrier referred to NADA, which is Kelley Blue Book, found the correct year, excellent condition, went for $3,500. SAAB owner checked a classic car auction website, like I just said, found identical car for what, over what he wanted to put at his guaranteed value. Insurer would not, consider it a valid source. So you can hire an attorney, but their paperwork is their paperwork. What they say goes. And If you don't have that guaranteed value, there's pretty much nothing that you can do. Am I going okay speed-wise? Sometimes I talk too fast.
No, you're good.
Going okay? Okay, cool. All right, so we have in-house claims, which is really cool. So we have a specialized in-house claims team, which focuses on specialty cars. That's why we only do collector vehicles. So we have a team that specifically looks at your vehicle and can actually give a fair adjustment or a fair assessment of the damage, if it's totaled, if it's not totaled. We offer online claims reporting. Please mute. Average turnaround is about 15 days, so it's pretty quick for a smaller company. In most cases, glass claims paid the same day. On-staff parts finders. Luckily, I have not had a complete loss or a partial loss with any of my clients over 2 years, so that's fantastic. So I will be honest and say I've never gone through that claims process with someone, but I have heard from my underwriter about the process, how it works. I've just never done it firsthand, so just want to put that out there. We also have the option, like other insurance companies, to buy back salvage titles. We also do, this wasn't on the FAQ, but I did have this asked 3 days ago, do we insure salvaged cars? And yes, we do. However, they need to be safe and road legal. So you can't have a car with no front end and the hood crunched up, driving all over, and the exhaust laying on the ground and scraping. So it needs to be in proper maintenance condition. However, we do insure salvage cars for a guaranteed value. Next slide. Claims can be reported 3 ways: web, phone, by fax. Claim is assigned to an adjuster for handling, who then will review the loss, contact the client within 24 hours, assigns an appraiser, updates clients through the claim, determines liability and potential recovery, and settles the claim. Pretty much like all other insurance companies, it's nothing new, but we like to think that we take a little bit more time and effort with our clients because we obviously know how much these cars mean to you. So we're extra friendly in that regard. In-house claims. I think this is a case study. So let's go through this. Vehicle coverage. So let's just say we have a 1970 Dodge Charger, 383. I'm not a huge old car person, so I don't know too much about them, but the vehicle owner selected shop based on a phone book advertisement and a 20-minute discussion with the shop owner. He dropped the vehicle off in April 2009, and when promised it would be done and finished within 6 to 8 months. When the owner of the vehicle called the shop in December to inquire about his car, the phone had been disconnected. He was informed that his vehicle was one of 11 that had been completely stripped and the parts sold. The shop owner since has been indicted on federal charges. The car was obviously a total loss. The Hagerty paid the client $50,000, the guaranteed value of the car. No available parts. PCS client was driving a very rare one of, this is another separate instance, sorry. PCS client was driving a very rare 1 of 5 valued at $350,000. He was in an accident and the vehicle required new parts. Since the vehicle was so rare, there were no parts available. However, we knew another PCS client who had the number 2 vehicles of the 5 that were made. We contacted the client and he allowed us to transport his car to Florida to a specialty machine shop that was able to make the template from the part of his car. We had then the shop fabricate, got to duck down, parts for the other vehicle. The client's vehicle did not have to be totaled and the client was very happy. So we also insure 4 parts that are custom. So if there's a custom part from, most of my clients are Porsche guys and they have, their 930s from the 60s, and those parts can be hard to get and some are in production. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But Hagerty will go that extra step to make sure that you get your parts that were on your car to be replaced. It's not like we're going to go off and get some, podunk replica stuff. It's all OEM manufacturer. So no need to worry on that. We keep your classic car in the classic car form. We're not going to cheapen it out. We have a proven track record. 9 out of 10 clients who have had a claim recommend Hagerty to a friend. More than 10 claim-free years with Hagerty. My 1965 Chevelle Malibu SS sustained a 3,000 bump by a car that was also insured by Hagerty. We took both to a well-respected but not cheap, which we all know we don't like to choose cheap body shops. I don't. I cannot see where the car was repaired or painted. Hagerty said the estimated price with no questions asked. After this pleasant experience, I am a real Hagerty fan. Had a claim to fix my 1994 Corvette that had front end damage. The claim went so smooth that I only had to correspond once with Hagerty, and the body shop dealt directly with them. Bottom line, got my baby back as good as new and zero hassle. Thank you, Hagerty. You guys rock. So there are thousands of these, testaments to how good Hagerty is. That was one of the reasons that I was really turned on to them, especially in my own financial advising practice. I like to find the best quality of everything, right? So to have that ability to have an insurance carrier that doesn't hassle with their clients, especially in regards to classic cars that you guys value and could have in the family for 50 plus years, it means a lot to me that they go out of their way to make the experience so effortless and seamless. Because as car guys, that's all we really want. We don't want to get pushed around. We don't want Geico telling us, well, we have this other part and yada, yada, yada. It's just a pain in the butt. So Hagerty really kicks butt, no pun intended, in that regard. So now on to some of your questions. What vehicles qualify? What we insure: antique and classic cars, 1980 and newer vehicles. We also do before 1980s. And for all you Massachusetts people, yesterday we just got the green light to insure anything 25 years older or 25 years old and newer. So before then, we couldn't insure any 1990, any 1980s cars in Massachusetts. So now we can. So that's big time. We insure modified vehicles. That's one, that's for me. So, when you modify your vehicle, you don't really think the car is going to be worth what you paid for it, right? You think it might be worth a little bit more. You put a lot of time, you put a lot of effort in it. Other insurance companies won't, they will to a certain extent. Some carriers will say, hey, we have like a 2000, added on bonus for like extra parts, but they'll only, cap that. Whereas Hagerty, if you say, hey, I have this, and this is my guaranteed value, this was what was on the car, we don't say, here's just a little bit of extra money. We actually insure the full amount. Replicas, tuners, lowriders, street legal dune buggies, classic trucks, motorsports. So we do race cars. We have a separate program, which I think is on here, but it's called Pit and Paddock. So if you had to have a non-operational car that you trailer to and from the track, we can insure that and have coverage while it's in the trailer and while it's in the pit and paddock. So let's just say someone with their Lotus that doesn't have a rear view mirror backs up and backs into you, we actually cover that. So that's not a comprehensive or a liability claim. That's a separate claim for Hagerty. Vintage motorcycles, retired commercial vehicles, classic military. So we will insure 6x6s, not the new Mercedes 6x6, but the old Vietnam 6x6. We can insure that if you happen to just have one laying on your front lawn. We also do boats, like I said. So classic boats, new boats, power boats. We pretty much do it all. High value vehicles, collections, collector trailers, and vehicles under construction. So that I think will be discussed a little bit more, but we can also do a policy for restoration. So it can be every 6 months, we raise the value by 5-10%. I'm not sure on the exact numbers, but we do have the ability that if you do have a project, we can kind of grow with you. And then at the very end, if you say, okay, well, we have it now at 40 and I want to bump it to 60, we can do that. No problem. You call me, you call in Hagerty, and we'll do that, that same day. Next slide. Endorsements. So this is also, what is this? So this is what I was saying, where we also insure memorabilia. So it's not just the cars. We have automobilia stuff. With most of our policies, we do have a spare parts and tools coverage at $750 included at no charge, zero deductible. So let's say someone comes in and steals a bunch of your tools in your garage. We will cover up to $750 on that. Like I said, we also have coverage for vehicles under construction. And we also do surety bonds for classic car shows and other events. So we can also insure events. So liability wise, if you have a car show and you guys want to do a drive through Napa Valley or something like that, we can also offer insurance for that specific event, which is kind of cool, which I didn't know until about 4 days ago. So that's really cool. I've never done it, but that's pretty cool that they offer that. We also have vacation home collectors. I have not experienced this being in San Diego on the West Coast because we have the best weather. So we don't have any vacation homes. Our vacation homes are our real homes, but we do offer that service. As I said before, we do everything by mileage. So if you're car is being stored at a vacation rental, obviously that mileage will differ, right? So we have a different set of requirements for a collector car at a vacation home. So under 2,500 miles driven, do not require a regular use vehicle at the vacation home. So let's say, I have a house in Maine that I go to just during the summer, or Nantucket, and I have a collector car there that sees maybe 2,000 miles a year. I won't need to have a separate daily driven vehicle at that location. So that will be a-okay. Oh, sorry, don't go off. So that will be okay. If you do drive over 2,500 miles in your collector vehicle, we will require at least one regular use vehicle at your vacation home. Next slide, additional products. We also do overseas shipping and touring. I have never done that. Club liability, as I just said. If you guys want to put on a show or a car show or a spirited drive with one, and we are able to insure that. And then business insurance, I do believe we have a section of Hagerty that will insure dealerships, but only if that dealership is a classic car dealership. So it can't be like a new Mercedes-Benz dealership. Everything has to be relatively old or deemed as classic. So we do offer that as well. Protecting the hobby. So Hagerty Drivers Club, once you sign up with Hagerty, I usually quote without Hagerty Drivers Club, and Hagerty Drivers Club is basically like your AAA roadside assistance, but a lot better. So we also, in addition to providing roadside assistance, you get a cool magazine, you get discounts at certain shops, different websites, member-only events. I was at a classic car show in San Diego in La Jolla, and Hagerty set up, this was back when Lauren was working with Hagerty. We had a big booth there right around where the judges were, and we can go in and have, water and cheese and crackers and converse with other Hagerty members, which was really cool. And they put that on, and as long as you're one of the members, then you're okay to go. Membership includes down here, you get a Hagerty magazine that's full of classic cars and other things that Hagerty members are doing. We also have guaranteed flatbed assistance. So we don't pick up with, I don't even know what to call it, the back loading, lever, towing. What else do we do? We also have different gears. So basically, if you want to have a larger radius than our, base plan, I believe is 15 or 20 miles with unlimited tows. And then you can get one with a 60-mile radius, because a lot of us, we might drive our car to the track 100 miles away. And if something, bad happens and we only have 25 miles or 20 miles to spend to get to a shop, that might not be our preferred shop. So we have different levels of the Hagerty Drivers Club. And I believe the top level is 100 miles and unlimited tows too. So I have to check on that, but it's either 80 or 100 miles. We have Hagerty Concierge, car experts on call, automotive discounts, like I said, historic vehicle associations, automatic memberships. So it's not just like AAA, we're going to come and get you, but we're going to come and get you, give you free magazines, and give you free stuff to, go to events and free membership. So it's a little bit more and kind of cool and relatively inexpensive. I pay $70 for my 60-mile radius, and I've used it twice in 3 years and no questions asked. They also have a really cool app, which will show you where the tow truck is. It's peace of mind. It's really cool. And it works really fast. I don't have to stay on, on hold for 20 minutes waiting for someone. It, happens within a minute or so. And here it is. So first gear, we have $45 per year. It's a 20-mile radius for your towing, $100 per event. So that's like if you run out of fuel and they need to give you gas and they give you gas, that's what's being covered. We also have second gear, which is $70 a year, 60-mile radius, which is one I have. And then third gear, it's actually 150-mile radius for $175 per year. And the big highlight is that all household vehicles, including your daily drivers, are able to be on this policy. So if you're driving around in your car that's, insured by Geico and it runs out, you can use your Hagerty Drivers Club to pick that up instead of using, your other AAA. Alrighty, Historical Vehicle Association. The mission, I think this next couple slides are our sponsors, so I'm not sure, Tim, if I have to go through all these, but I'll just do it for fun. Historical Vehicle Association, documenting and recognizing historical important vehicles in the National Historic Vehicle Register, establish and sharing best practices, guidelines to ensure that authentic examples of our automotive past will be available for future generations, promoting the historical and cultural significance of the automobile through media and events, protecting the future of our automotive past through affiliations with museums, academic institutions, education programs, and support of legislative action. I wish they'd get on that in California because we get hogtied with all of the restrictions we have over here, but that's okay. That's okay. Here is a billet beat built for Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen has been, we have a Steve McQueen, what is it, the car show that's in LA. I believe it's in November. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've been a big, huge part of that for a long time. Great organization. Love being there. Lots of really cool classic cars, modern cars. So if you have the opportunity to check it out, please do. Another one is the RPM Foundation, accelerates the growth of the next generation of automotive restoration and preservation craftsmen through formal training and mentorship. Founded through the vision and support of Hagerty, the RPM Foundation serves as the educational arm of America's Automotive Trust. Together, these organizations work to secure and preserve America's automotive heritage. You can read through this. I'll have this in the PDF. Hagerty Youth Program. So we also have youth programs for any of your children to go through, and youth judging. Since 2007, more than 3,000 people aged 25 and under have participated in Hagerty Youth advocacy programs to gain insider access to classic car and boat hobby. Hagerty provides these youth services as a way of giving back to the classic car industry to support and encourage the next generation of car enthusiasts and collectors. I have a young baby girl due in February, and you bet she's going to be in a cart by the time she's 3. So, all right. So here's another arm. We do offer on-track insurance. Now, there are some caveats to this. So the first caveat is nothing is insured if you are doing a wheel-to-wheel race. So anything where you have qualifying, practice qualifying, racing, rubbing, any sort of contact, we do not insure for that. However, we do insure for time trials. I think there are 2 sections of the time trial. I think there's like one that's advanced, one that's not. I'm not sure of the price difference, if any, but we are able to insure cars for HPDEs and time attacks. Let's go through here. Limited trailer and paddock insurance. That was what I was alluding to earlier. If you guys have race cars or any, what is the Mercedes, the red pig or the fat pig, that old SEL, the red pig, right?
Pig.
Yeah, I love that car. I'm a big 4-door guy, so that's one of my favorite cars of all time. So if you guys have a red pig and you need to insure it, but you obviously don't drive it on the street for obvious reasons, we can protect that car. We can protect against fire, theft, collision, off track, storage, in transit, paddock, or at the shop. So if a lift breaks and it crashes, we cover that. Full liability, we offer full protection for street legal race vehicles when they're off the track. We also protect trailers used to haul race vehicles. So HPDE, I'm going to go off script a little bit here. But for any car under $30,000 or $25,000, it's $155, I believe, for a 3-day weekend. So if you guys track and you do, because I know a lot of speed venture events can be 2 days, like when you go to Laguna Seca, no one wants to do just 1 day at Laguna, right? So they want to do 2 days. So we cover up to 3 days of tracking. Like I said, we do time trial. And then what is included with the track insurance is if there's any oil cleanup that needs to happen, we will partake in that. So if you have to pay for that, we insure that. We also insure getting a towing service from the track to your specified shop. I think there is obviously like a limit on how far you can go. I'd have to double check on that. We also do a spare car rental. I think it's for 3 days. Also would have to check on that. I've only had a couple people do them. And usually I recommend the HPDE insurance for first-time track goers because it's usually a little bit shaky. For advanced guys, I usually say you might not need it. Some people, who might have like a $500,000 McLaren will still do it even if they're advanced, but it's mostly geared towards beginners who are out there kind of just learning. Situational awareness is not, high up in what you're learning. You're just trying to learn the lines and not crash. So this is a great way to feel safe. You can put a guaranteed value on that car, so there's nothing to worry about. Fast and easy claim service. Client's vehicle will get fixed right away. No shortcuts. Perfect. Why Hagerty? We offer year-round general liability coverage for your club. This is for club insurance, I believe. This coverage is available to all nonprofit collector vehicle clubs, including motorcycle and tractor clubs. Event coverage, our static event coverage protects your shows, cruise-ins, picnics, and meetings under one policy. Your club is covered for up to $2 million per occurrence. Additional directors and officers coverage is available. National car clubs are protected up to $5 million, including each chapter and their events. If your car club rents space and needs to list an additional insured, we can quickly provide the required insurance certificate. So that's another cool thing. Once again, if you guys need any insurance for the car club, feel free to reach out. We can write that, no problem. And I think the next one is the last slide, which is the facts. I tried to do it bullet point by bullet point, but I don't think Zoom and PowerPoint get along that well, so I couldn't. So it's all here under one slide. So would someone else driving my car be covered under my policy? Yes, that we do know ones and twos. Is Tim in here? Tim, are you here?
Yeah, what can I help you out with?
Yeah, so something else, this question, are we allowed to have other people drive? Because I know we can add insured onto the car, but if it's like ones and twos, like, something happens and your wife needs to drive your car back home and, you tore your ankle up at a basketball competition or something, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously outside of, you're going to have your name insured on the car, and that's going to be covered, as well as any of your kids. And if you let your buddy drive your car and unfortunately something happens, that's still going to be covered. Gotcha.
Okay, perfect. That's my regional manager. That's Lauren's new job. That's him. Great guy. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask. Hagerty does cover theft. If my car is being trailered to a show and something happens to it, what does Hagerty cover? It does cover the car, so don't feel bad. Also, that is also the case with both the pit and paddock insurance and liability and comprehensive. So you're covered regardless. Should I insure my car when it's in the middle of a restoration, or should I wait until after it's completed? Like I said earlier, you do have the option to do a vehicle under restoration package with Hagerty, so we can increase the value at certain times. So once your build kind of progressive, we can automatically insure it instead of, hey, calling us, we charge you a prorated rate. It just kind of, it's a little bit of a hassle. So we instituted the restoration option for people who, constantly restore their cars, and it's a hobby. If my car has been fully restored, what kind of documentation does Hagerty need? Like I previously said, also, if you have like a 69 CUDA and you list it for, $70,000, I'm pretty sure we're not going to ask for documentation as to why you value your car at that much. Now, if it's a $500,000 Hemi CUDA, then we might say, hey, provide us, did Steve McQueen own it, or did, I don't know, Patrick Dempsey sign it? I don't know, just things like that to let us know that that's how you came to value your car at that price. How does Hagerty value a restored car? Kind of see above. It's really up to you. I'm not sure. Some clients have asked me, like, what would you value it at? And I just ask them right back, well, what do you think? So it's kind of a discussion. It's not like we're going to say, it has to be this value or it has to be this value. We're pretty open to it. Now, the premium will change depending on the value. So sometimes it's not like, I want it at 40,000. This is my price. I have to do it. If you want to lower the value of the car to get a lower premium, we're able to do that. So there's a lot of flexibility, which is really cool. What is the difference between Hagerty and other company offering classic car insurance? We kind of went over that, the stated versus guaranteed value. They can also look at ACV and choose which of the two they would like to insure for, or somewhere in the middle. I've had a little bit of experience with other insurers. I'm not going to name them because that would be bashing, but other classic car insurances, carriers do that. So Hagerty is the only one that we do stated value. We write the check. I do believe Grundy does it, but I am not entirely sure. But we're the best of the best, so I like to stick with us. Does Hagerty have any requirements on how, where a car is stored? Yes, we do. It needs to be in an enclosed garage or warehouse of some sort. So we don't like our cars open to the elements because there's a lot of other stuff that could possibly go wrong with it being outside, trees falling, et cetera, et cetera. So we do need a designated area. It's not like you have to park your car in your garage every single day, but we do require that you have that available, and that we do ask you that you do keep it there just in case.
And Mike, let me chime in here. Let me ask a question, and Ann, you can help me out with this. Are we talking to only people in California right now?
So I think we're all over the place, right?
All over the country, and we may have some Canada people.
Okay, awesome. And so that is just one thing I want to clear up. And Michael, you're totally right about that. And that is something we do in California. But outside of California, we are very lenient on garaging.
Okay.
So I came from Philadelphia before, and you could leave your garage, even if it had a carport or in the garage, in the driveway. We would definitely consider that as a risk. And also, it's going to affect your premium, but at the same time, we know that space is limited and it's not going to be easy. So we let you have that outside of your garage. So that's something for everyone on the outside of the country. In California, it's a little different just because of the fires and limited space, but everywhere else, garaging is very lenient.
Now, will you guys do open garages not in California? Because I know that.
Yes, definitely open carports, garages. I was in Pennsylvania, and you could have it, in your front lawn. People had, 9-10 cars, had nowhere to put them, and we were definitely fine with that. California's a little different, but outside of California, garaging, we don't need it. So that's something.
Okay. There it is, straight from the horse's mouth. So that's good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's keep going. My car is relatively new. Can I still get Hagerty? Yes, you can. A lot of times I suggest this with my Porsche clientele, because a lot of times they'll buy a brand new Porsche and instantly it's worth like double what they paid for it, which is absolutely ridiculous, but that's Porsche life. So we can do that as well. We can do new cars. Do I still have to have regular car insurance? Is this in addition or instead of? Yes, you will need a daily driver. The only caveat is like what I said with your vacation home. So if you do have a vacation home and it is driven less than 2,500 miles a year, then we do not need to have a standard everyday car at that location, but you would still need a primary vehicle at your main residence. If I move out of state to a different city, would my coverage or rate change? Possibly. It's very minimal from what I've seen with my underwriter. I've had a couple people move and it's not that much. So don't be worried if you are moving. It's not like we're going to drop you or anything, or rates are going to skyrocket. But if you do need to move, just give me a call, give Hagerty a call, and we can help you with the change of address. And that's pretty much it. We shot through that. So would love to, have any other questions asked by the club, because we have myself and Tim on. So
yeah, we do have a couple of questions that came in during the presentation. So I'm going to run through those real quick with you. The first one is, can customers purchase Hagerty Drivers Club benefits at any time, or is that only when you renew your policy?
Tim, I think it's all the time, correct?
Yes, it's all the time. It's going to be something that's usually going to be on your policy to start. You can obviously take it off, but Hagerty Drivers Club is something that you can purchase at any time, as well as something you can purchase without a vehicle. So we are trying to move towards more of a club atmosphere. With that being said, we're looking to open up different clubs within the country that if you're a Hagerty Drivers Club, you can go in. They're going to be storage facilities and, hangout spots. So that's something that you can purchase outside of your vehicle. And then when you do have your vehicle, if you want to add it, it's an endorsement. At any time you can add that.
Excellent. And then if somebody is in a very urban area that isn't Southern California, where our public transportation is terrible, but they do have a good public transit system and don't have a daily driver, would they be able to obtain classic car insurance for their collector car?
So that's something That's great. That's a good question. And that's something that we're trying to move more towards, especially like I said, I'm in San Diego now with Michael, but I was on the East Coast before, and this is something that you'll see, especially in New York, Philadelphia, things like that. We are close to adding something like that, where if we know that, if you and your wife, I lived in Chicago for a while, I never had a car there, but if I had a classic car, could I use that? That's something we're close to doing, but unfortunately right now, you will not be able to do that.
Okay, and then let me scroll to the next question. There was a question about
Age. I saw that.
yes.
Right? So I was happy that someone asked that question about just kind of the age range of vehicles. I think that gets with Hagerty, people think, all right, your collector car insurance, your classic car insurance. And of course, that's what we are. But in reality, what I like to say is we insure cars that are fun to drive. So that can be any age range. Like he said, it could be brand new, or it could be, from the 50s. So the thing that comes with that is that I like to say, let me give a good Mercedes example here. So I had a client that was in New Jersey that had a SLK convertible. It was a 2002, and it was just her perfect weekend vehicle. And the thing with that car is it was only worth about, I think at the time, like $11,000, $12,000. But if you're in a regular auto policy, the problem is if you take a total loss on that, they're going to give you a check for 400, 500 bucks. And then you're going to say, hey, I saw one of these sell on eBay or cars.com for 11,000. Whereas the difference is she put her car on a Hagerty policy. And not only did she get that $12,000 guaranteed value, her rate went down for insurance, just because one, we were in New Jersey. We know you're not driving that car outside of 4 months a year. It's a classic car. It's not your daily driver. Whereas your regular auto insurer is going to say, hey, that SLK convertible, you're going to drive that every day. That's how they treat it. So I think that's a big difference between us. And that's kind of what I wanted to get out of this as well. But yeah, to answer that, every year is fine. You could have a brand new one as long as it's a fun to drive vehicle and you have a daily driver as well.
Excellent. And if you have a husband and wife on the same general policy for cars, how many do they have to each have a daily driver and then have their classics under Hagerty, or does it matter if the general insurance policy is under the husband or the wife?
So with that, usually we're going to go by like your household. So if you have a husband and wife, we would hope that you would have 2 cars and then your Hagerty vehicle, or maybe 2 cars and shoot, if you have 20 Hagerty vehicles, that's even better. But we would like to have 1 vehicle per driver. And at the same time, with kids in the household as well, if you have a 18-year-old, then we'd like to have 3 vehicles and then, your Hagerty vehicle as well. And also I wanted to jump in and I know this wasn't a question, but we do allow your kids to drive your Hagerty vehicle as well.
Okay, excellent. And then I believe I know the answer to this question, but I wanted to see if this information has changed. I believe that MBCA has a special rate with Hagerty. Could you give our members a little bit of information on that?
I believe there is a discount. And again, I'd have to look at the percentage that it is, but there is a discount for Mercedes-Benz Club of America.
And we have them for most car clubs, to my knowledge, like PCA, BMW, CCA. We got options.
Yeah, last I heard it was 5%, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think
sounds about right.
5% is usually what it is for all clubs. I just didn't want to speak wrong.
Okay, and then one more. Okay, is the valuation tool just a guideline, and does Bring a Trailer sales affect it? I know that Bring a Trailer, like some insurance companies in certain states don't take Bring a Trailer or auction.
I was happy to see that. I saw that question come up late, and I'm really happy you asked, because I think Michael touched on it. As far as our valuation goes, our valuation tool is something for our clients or just anyone that wants to browse and see what their car is worth. But that's not your end goal there. There are definitely different values for everyone's car. And usually what happens is someone comes in, they're going to go to Michael and they're going to say, hey, I have so and so Mercedes Benz, and it's worth $20,000. And if that's, you know, that's a low thing, and if that's what we think it is, then that works out perfect. We let them usually guide us towards it, because I'll use a different example. I see a lot of people that have something like a Honda Accord, and they'll come in and say, hey, I got an 86 Honda Accord. It's worth $75,000. And that's, you know, seems like a lot, but there definitely could be something in there that's worth that. And usually what we'll do from there is get pictures and some receipts. And we have, you know, a bunch of high $80,000 Honda Accords that are insured by Hagerty. So really that is just kind of for the market, is just something to look at and hopefully value your vehicle by, but that's not the end goal. Did that answer the question well?
Yes. Yes. You know, every restoration is different. Every car is different.
And you know, every car is different. So that's what I think the best thing about Hagerty is that we're very flexible on, if you tell us what your vehicle is worth. A lot of times, I mean, I've been in with Hagerty for over 2 years now, and I don't think I've had maybe one vehicle that someone says it's worth this much and it wasn't. But usually people know their vehicle's worth, and they know it a lot better than I do. So we'll go off of that. And we don't want anyone to underinsure their vehicle with us. I think Michael touched on that earlier. That's kind of like our biggest fear, is that, you know, the market goes up to 50,000 in your car and you've got it marked at 30 grand. You take a total loss. All of a sudden you're missing out on 20 grand.
Yeah. One more question. Hagerty Private Client Program. Can you give us some information on that? What it is, what the requirements are for that?
So our private client program is for vehicles. If you have 2 vehicles over $300,000, I believe it varies different by state, but if you have 2 vehicles over $300,000, or if you have a collection of vehicles over 500,000, then what happens with that is you have a little bit of a different program. You're going to get a personal rep on all your, like, as far as towing and anything goes like that. If you have a problem with anything, you give them a call, you have a personal line, and that helps. And then also you're going to get Cherish Salvage, which is a huge deal, especially when you're talking about cars. And you guys would know that are, you know, let's say you have a $500,000 car, you take a total loss on it. All of a sudden you have a body that's worth $80,000. Usually an insurance company is going to take that from you. Whereas with Hagerty, you have right to salvage. So that's going to be yours, as well as getting the total loss.
Excellent.
So that's a couple things that are good about our PCS program.
Okay. And are there any other questions? If anybody else has any other questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves and you can chat with us directly.
Yeah, feel free.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. My husband has Hagerty on our cars, and you know, my roommate is Hagerty, and
yeah,
everybody I know with classics is Hagerty.
No, that's great, and I appreciate you guys letting Michael and I come on and talk to you a little bit about it. But
no, this was awesome. It's good to get more of this information out there, especially since so many of our members do have classic cars and may not know what Hagerty can do for them, or what classic car insurance in general. Even if they end up not going with Hagerty, if it gets them, you know, thinking about something like this, evaluating what their own insurance policies are, because insurance policies, whether it's healthcare or car care or anything like that, they're very confusing for the average person. So demystifying the whole process, I think, is valuable for everybody. The more information we have on how we're covered and
take your camera off
and all of that is good.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's cool saving people money and giving them value. You don't really get that very much with most of insurance companies, right? You have to sacrifice something, your risk or your premium, but with Hagerty, it's save money and get better coverage. It's kind of a no-brainer.
yeah,
It's fantastic.
And the last thing I will say is that as far as Hagerty goes, I mean, our goal has been to kind of keep driving alive. We're big into the hobby. That's kind of all I do is go to car shows and go to drives, and it's been a hassle right now not being able to. But that's another big thing, is that we don't have any mileage restrictions. We want you to drive your car. If it's a nice day outside, I don't know where anyone on this chat lives, but I again, coming from Philly, you only got to drive your car 3-4 months. If it was a nice day with Hagerty, you can drive your car to work. You can drive it to the store because it's nice. We're not going to look at your odometer or anything like that. And I think that's also a big selling point of our product.
Big selling point. And I think Obed has one. Just to verify, Hagerty Drivers Club can be joined without having a policy with Hagerty, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, without even having a policy. And so our magazine, I know maybe some people in here get it, but we do release that every other month. And it is the third most read auto magazine in the world right now, right behind Car and Driver and Motor Trend. And what you're going to get with that is just all articles. I mean, we have Jay Leno write for us, a couple other big car guys write different articles. It's going to be no ads, just all about driving. So that's also a huge sell, the Hagerty Drivers Club program, along with towing, obviously.
Yeah. And I also got another question. What's the difference between going with me as an agent versus going with Hagerty? There is no additional cost. I do have an underwriter on speed dials. So that's kind of the only cool pitch that I have. But other than that, you can call in and, there's no extra cost to have an agent on file and do stuff for you. Just makes it a little bit more convenient.
And I will say, I think that's a great point with Michael. And that's why I do work with him, is because the difference with having an agent or just doing Hagerty Direct is if you ever need anything, just go right to Michael, and he has a direct underwriter. He has me, he has everyone who can get things done for him. So I think that's a big advantage.
Yeah, so for everybody in the chat room, Capref, which is Jeff, he's saying that Michael is his agent, and that is how I got Michael roped into doing this presentation for us. Jeff is a very, very long time friend of mine, and I contacted him and said, hey, put me in touch with your Hagerty guy. Let's see if we can do this. So
thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, up to 10 cars now. Still have not removed any cars.
Yeah.
We'll get it 20 by the end of the year, Jeff. I promise.
Don't tell him that.
He will do it.
We're enabling.
I know. Oh man, miss you, Jeff.
Okay, do we have any more questions? If not, we will sign off.
Now, one question I do have is I've gotten a lot of private messages. Now, do I get to save these? Because I've never done a Zoom chat. So does this just remain up here, or how does that work?
Oh, let me see.
Because I don't want to delete it out and then not call people.
We'll just copy them and put them in.
Copy paste. Okay.
Copy paste them into a Word doc or something like that. I will get a printout afterwards. So.
Oh, sweet. And I will have the PDF that I'll mail to you, Anne. So if anyone wants to have it,
that would be awesome. I can have that posted onto our social media committee website, so that our members can access that as well. And if anybody has any other questions that come up after this is all over, you can email the social media committee at socialmedia@mbca.org, and I will get any of your questions over to Michael and Tim. And we can, or if you have any other ideas for future events that you want us to put on, we are open to any ideas out there. We're trying to grow our social media content, so anything valuable like this, we are very open to.
And also, if you guys have any events that you guys are planning in your area, definitely reach out to Ann or one of us, and I can put you in touch with another Hagerty rep, and hopefully we can come and sponsor and at least give out some goodies and just be there. So I appreciate everyone that's on the call and still taking part in the hobby, and it means a lot to us. So thank you very much for taking part in this.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everybody else. Who is Michael?
Here, let me actually put my phone number in the and my email in the chat just in case. I didn't put down the slideshow. That was one mistake I made.
Oh yeah, if you can put it in the chat, that would be awesome, so everybody can see that.
Perfect. There we go.
There you go. And Michael, some people didn't join us at the very, very beginning. So if you could just tell them how you are affiliated with Hagerty, that would be great.
Yeah. So I am an agent with them. So that does not mean I am, or that means that I am not contractually part of their corporation. I am my own entity, and I can sell their policies through my agency that I am a part of. I don't own an agency. I'd be very wealthy if I did, but I can sell Hagerty policies whenever, and to whoever I need to.
Yeah, let's just say Michael is in the hobby. He knows cars better than me. I work for Hagerty, and I trust Michael to put this presentation on, and I also trust him to hopefully get some of you guys as new clients and any of your cars to go through him.
Would appreciate it. Help pay for my baby girl's goat cart.
Yeah.
Oh.
Love it. Okay, excellent. I think that is it. Thank you everybody for joining us. Again, if you have any other questions that you want me to get to Michael or Timothy, email us at socialmedia@mbca.org. There is a full committee of us on the social media committee doing everything from YouTube to Instagram to Facebook to LinkedIn to everything like that. We're trying to get MBCA into the 21st century and into the cloud. So if we have if there's any other content that you want from us, and we're trying to get everything onto Zoom calls and YouTube and everything like that. So if you have anything that you want us to present, or if you know somebody who wants to present something, shoot us an email. We have an upcoming event that is the part 2 of Pierre Hadari's K Jetronic presentation that was a few weeks ago, and I don't remember the date on that, but it is coming up, I think, in a few weeks. It is on our social media event page. If you go to mbca.org, look up the social media committee. We have a whole event page and calendar and all of our upcoming events. So thank you so much for joining us, and have a great night.
Have a good night, all. Cool.
Well, let me